Three, two, one. Yes, guys, and welcome back to another video. I am joined by my two co-hosts on the Complicated Podcast, Reece and Amber. But this is a separate strand from the podcast. This is going to be where we dip into cold cases, from anything from solved cases to unsolved cases. And this week, we are going to be talking about the Chris Watts family murder. I'm going to explain the murder and everything to Amber and Reece and get their thoughts. How do you feel about this video, guys?
Yeah, I'm excited, you know. Yeah.
Well, as excited as you can be.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll give you a little bit of background story. This happened not too long ago, 13th of August 2018. If anyone notices, I'm looking at my iPad because that's got the notes on. I say my iPad, it's my fiance's iPad. So the Chris Watts family murder occurred on the early morning of... Why does my camera keep doing that? The early morning of the 13th of August 2018 in Frederick, Colorado, America. While being interviewed by the police, Chris Watts was very edgy. There is actually clips on YouTube that you can go and watch of the police officer actually like going round the house and checking the house out. He has it on a body cam, and Chris Watts the whole time is acting completely normal, like nothing's happened. Bear in mind, his wife and kids are missing. And it wasn't him who phoned it in. It was a neighbour that worked with the wife, because she was really excited to go to work because she had a big important meeting. Long story short, she obviously never showed up to work. And it is very chilling what happened, especially in the video, because Chris Watts, he's standing there, he's on his phone, he's chilling, he's cool, he's not paying any attention to the police officer, just showing him around the house and everything like that. It goes on to get very, very interesting, because you find the wedding ring from the wife on the table, as well as her bag, her phone, and her keys. If you up sticks and leave, you wouldn't leave that stuff there. So the copper pretends to make a call in saying, "I'm going to need backup." And it is the only time in the, I think, 40-minute clip where Chris Watts panics. And he looks up, and there's like the colour goes in his face a little bit. And then he carries on going through the house. He's like, "I don't know what's happened. Like, she might have just done this." But he never phoned it in. It was obviously a friend that did this. Their neighbour comes out while the police are there and goes, "Oh, I have CCTV footage of last night." Because Chris Watts also had a CCTV camera at his house that wasn't functional. So Chris Watts thought, you can't see anything. There's a big hedge. You can't see anything that happens. And they go and watch it, and Chris Watts is standing there. Bear in mind, like, I don't know if you guys feel this as well. If you're there and your wife is missing, the last thing I'd be doing while a copper's trying to help me is, yeah. Like, that's not helpful at all, is it, realistically?
George went, I wouldn't do the same.
And then they carry on, and they're going through the CCTV footage, and it gets to about 4 a.m. And this is still on the policeman's body cam. And it shows Chris Watts carrying something out to his van in a rug. And I missed this point, but Chris Watts said he left at about 4 or 5 a.m. to go to work. And then the copper goes, "Well, that's you. Like, you said you had left to go to work. What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I must have left later than I thought I did." Okay. So this is where it gets interesting. Because Chris Watts does an interview a couple of days later on telly. If I can find the clip, I'll throw it in. If I can't, I apologise, but I'll read it off to you. He turns around and he's talking about his daughter's missing. Right, and he's asked the age by the reporter of the daughters, and he goes, "Well, Cece was about to start school." And he goes, and the other daughter, he goes, was about to be this age. And you're sitting there and you're going, you wouldn't say was.
Why would?
That's very, very sketchy to say was. So this was the first point that he tripped up, and then it was found out, and it's very, very gruesome, that what had actually happened was he killed his pregnant wife, who was 15 weeks pregnant, and his 2 daughters, buried his wife in a shallow grave at his work site, and put his 2 daughters into oil tankers at his work site. As I said, it is very, very gruesome, and it is not a light-hearted case at all. But it does. This is where Chris Watts starts to break. He first of all says, "I saw my wife," because he had been caught cheating. He first of all says, "I saw my wife killing the children, so I killed her." Then things start to come out, and it comes out in court what actually happened. He had smothered his wife after she found out that he was cheating, buried her in a shallow grave at his work later on that morning. He walks into his daughter's rooms, 2 young daughters. He smothers one and kills them. And in court, this was found out as what the other one said, because he admitted it. The other daughter was awake and saw the sister die and turned around and said, "Is that going to happen to me next?" So very, very sad. Obviously, Chris Watts was seen as an upstanding citizen, had no previous of mental health diseases or anything like that. They tried to say he was scared of losing his family in the whole while they were in court. But either way, if you're gonna cheat and you're gonna lose your family, like, that was the reason they put to him doing it. To be honest, not the way I would have gone about it.
No.
Well. It was also, this bit's going to get a bit gruesome, and if you're of a squeamish nature, I'd probably skip about 10 seconds of the video. Oh, Jesus. He said in court, when saying everything, he said, one of the daughter's heads was too big to fit in the oil tanker, so I had to step on her head to squish her in. Well, I couldn't imagine doing that to someone I don't like. Bear in mind, my own daughter. Like, that
an animal, let alone a person.
Exactly, it is horrible. Him and his wife had only been married a few years. 2012. 6 years of marriage ended in not the best terms. His criminal charges that he got done for: 5 counts of first-degree murder and unlawful termination of a pregnancy, with 3 counts of tampering with a deceased human body. So that is burying them, squishing them, etc. The penalty he got, bear in mind, in America they do mental ones. Like, I've seen some like teenagers get life sentences over there. Jeez. Sorry, I'm reading a bit more and it's a bit scary. So his penalty that he was sentenced, 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole, plus an extra 84 years. So in England, as you know, a life sentence can be anything up to 25 years. In America, it is determined on an actual lifespan. So there was one case where it was 6 life sentences and 1,000 years on top of it for the murders that a guy done. But yeah, that is the basics of the Chris Watts murder, family murders. It was a plea deal that he did not get the death penalty due to his wife Shannon's family, who did not wish any further deaths, which is pretty amazing, because I would want that person to suffer personally. He received an extra 48 years for unlawful termination of his wife's pregnancy, and 36 for 3 charges of tampering with deceased bodies. So that's where the extra comes in. Basically, what that means is he will never leave a prison cell. But yeah, it's quite a disturbing case. He did take that plea deal. It is said that the mother of his wife, it looks like it says Shannon, but it's American, so it's not spelled like a normal Shannon name. Said that they forgive him for what he'd done, but that's why they didn't want him to die, because they didn't want any further deaths being of a Christian belief. Then his family's words were, "It is sad as what has happened, but we stand by him, his family." Which also is very weird for me to hear, because you would have thought, not only has he killed someone, he's killed his whole family. Like, there's 2 kids, a third on the way, a wife. It's horrible stuff. But yeah, that is the Chris Watts family murder. So guys, what can you say to that?
His punishment was kind of good, in the sense, obviously it's life, and it's nice that wife's family didn't want him to be killed, also because technically he's getting more punishment by being alive, because he's got to live with the fact he did that. There's no easy way out for him. So I agree with that. But wow, not a nice case.
No, not a nice case at all.
No, not a nice man. Even before the murders, he was cheating on his wife as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, just not a very pleasant man. So what Amber was saying, I think the fact that he didn't get the death penalty that would have been the easy way out,
Yeah.
Especially because it's just, an injection and then you sort of go to sleep. So yeah, it's just disturbing, isn't it? The daughter head squishing oil tanker thing is grim. I feel bad for whoever had to pull them out when they found them.
Yeah. So this
has to identify them as well, which is just awful.
So here's about the disappearance. So I've got a little bit more for you. I'm going to call her Shannon because I believe her name's Shannon. Returned home from business trip to Arizona about 1:48 a.m. on the 13th. So she returned home and within about 3 hours was dead. Having received a ride from a friend, a colleague, I'm not going to name the colleague because it's not worth it. Chris was home with the children. Later that day, Shannon and her 2 children reported missing by the person that drove her home. Who became concerned when Shannon missed a scheduled appointment and failed to return any text messages. After Shannon missed a business meeting, the friend went to the Watts home at approximately 10 past 12 p.m. that day. When the doorbell and knocked wasn't answered, notified Chris and called the Frederick. Couldn't notify Chris and called the Frederick Police Department. An officer arrived at around 1:40 when Chris, who had arrived home from work around that time. Chris spoke to the officer and discussed ways to locate his family. During the welfare check, the officer gave permission to search the house. Another family was found. The search discovered Shannon's purse containing phone keys and her car, which still contained children's seats, was in the garage. Her wedding ring was found on the couple's bed. So yeah, that's the extra little bits.
It's just odd because obviously you can tell straight away that someone wouldn't leave without them things, and I would
So
personally walk with my children, so assuming a pregnant woman wouldn't, pick all her bags up and leave like that
yeah.
without a car anyway.
So how about this one? There's a bit more stuff, and I'll let you guys speak. Like, say it after. He confessed to murdering her. He's when speaking to his father before confessing. So basically, he was being questioned, and he asked for time with his dad during the investigation while being interviewed by police, and confessed to his father about killing Shannon. Yet again, if I'm saying that name wrong, sorry. He claimed he strangled her, and the children's response. During the investigation, claimed Shannon had strangled the children in response to speculation of him leaving. So that was what he said originally. And obviously that changed to him confessing to what he actually did. But he confessed to his dad while in the interview room, and his dad was like, "There's mics and cameras on here. What are you saying to me?" Sort of thing. So it was on pretty quickly. Bear in mind, he was arrested on the 13th. About everything. On the 21st of August that year, was charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder. 1 count per child cited death who had not yet attended the age of 12. So both his kids were very young. One called Bella and one called, I'm just going to call her Cece because that's what he called her, and I can't find her actual name. But yeah. He also did an interview with Dr. Phil. Oh, yeah, Dr. Phil did an interview with his lawyer. So that's probably out there somewhere. I know this is a bit mashed together, but we've just decided to quickly jump on the call after filming another podcast and do this. So what do you guys think of it?
Well, so that was the beginning of the end when he confessed to his dad, and then saying his dad must have just said to him, like, fess up, this, don't let this drag on. And it didn't drag on. It only took 8 days from the murders to his conviction at the end, which is pretty quick, because these things can drag on, can't they?
Yeah. But it is quite a sad story because the couple met in 2010, were married in 2012, had 2 daughters, Bella in 2013 and then Cece in 2015. So Bella would have been 5 and Cece would have been 3 at the ages of their death. They had declared for bankruptcy in 2015 as well, which put more pressure on the family. So yeah, not the best case, but I think it's a good one to start on for these cold case episodes that we're gonna do. But yeah, pretty grim reading.
I suppose it just shows the capabilities of just people, I suppose, and what people can do. It's quite interesting.
It's very, very bad what people can do and are able to do. Like, I couldn't picture doing it. Like, I'm engaged now. I couldn't picture killing Becca. She does annoy me, but I don't think I could kill her. And I'm pretty sure she feels the same about me. I hope. But yeah, any other things you want to add to the Chris Watts family murder case?
You'd think he would have just removed himself from the situation so that he couldn't be questioned so fast, and possibly faked his own disappearance for a while to make it, more believable.
This is the thing, he goes about it so coldly as well. Like as I say, anyone that watches this, go and you can go on YouTube, put Chris Watts police recording, and you can see that it's like a 40-minute clip of the whole search, and you see he does not bat an eyelid at anything, apart from when the copper goes, I need to call for backup. I think something's happened. And also the fact of when he goes, that's you putting something in your trunk. Like, those are the only times he bats an eyelid, and it is genuinely quite scary.
But then you think, if he's done all that, why didn't he, like, get a better alibi, or, you know, just...
Yeah, they didn't have his...
Yeah.
They didn't have his alibi on the bit that I was reading, but it was very paper thin. It was literally, oh yeah, I was at work. Ironically, the bodies were found at his work. But yeah, very, very scary.
Yeah.
He would have pretended to have disappeared or something himself, though, and then
Yeah,
you know, like, came back and been like, oh my god, these men took my family or something. Just more creative. Not that I would plan to do this myself or anything. I study it.
I'm just saying, George needs to watch out.
No, that's all the years of uni.
But, you know, the fact that he's sort of gone about killing each individual member of his family so coldly and systematically, you know, and that's jarring. And then you'd think, based on that he would have covered his tracks better. Like we say, left, you know, the wife's car's still there, all sort of things that you'd never leave the house with are in the house, and she's not. So he wasn't very clever.
Not a clever man.
No. Evil and not very clever.
But yeah, that... Go on, Amber.
I was going to say, do you know, like, the born evil and stuff? You know, the psychology behind it. Would you personally say it was, like, born bad? Or, like, do you think something actually happened for him to lead to this? More like, you know, upbringing and stuff like that? Or, you know, just mental or something?
Well, there's no previous of a mental condition or any violence in his past. But it, like, you know what some people say, like, you're in a fit of rage when in an argument something happens. So obviously he's in a fit of rage. They're arguing about him cheating because he comes out as cheating. She goes to leave him. He kills her. But then to go across and kill both his daughters, and one of them seeing it and the words being, oh, is that going to happen to me next, shows there is an evilness in there, I think.
Yeah.
Surely that'd make you stop. I don't know, man. I think he just snapped, didn't he? I reckon that's what happened.
Yeah, probably.
Because most of what you're like is determined by environmental factors growing up and just sort of your experiences and your interactions with people, I think, anyway. And then I reckon he just snapped.
Yeah. But, I don't think his intention is to kill the kids, but obviously if someone's seen it, or you know, maybe had a favourite and they intended to kill one, but because the other one saw it, had to as well. You know,
God knows, it's
kids have cravings.
It's definitely sad, and obviously a tragic loss of life. But I think we'll wrap this one up here. You'll rather have me, Amber, or Reece telling you about the next cold case, which should be out in about a week. So what we're going to be doing on the channel, there'll be like a random video, which at the moment is already exploring abandoned places, a podcast, and then our cold case series. So be sure to hit that like button, share it with a friend, comment below what your thoughts are about the case, and also any cases you would like us to cover. And thank you guys for joining me.
Been a pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
See you later.
Bye.